A lesson structure maps teaching and learning with ICT that occurs in the class. Sound technology integration lesson structures reinforces the key components of ICT capability, such as routines and ICT skills and techniques. This is achieved through steps and activities, and is why lesson structuring is important. A good lesson structure will maximize the class time, maintain engagement, and achieve the outcomes. According to the New South Wales Education Standards Authority, there should be a 4-step process when you design your lesson structure. Let's go through them with reference as to how you can embed technology integration in early childhood education. When discussing about clarifying the lesson purpose and identifying the learning objectives, you can refer to such examples as I'm going to go through now. When integrating technology in the early learning classroom. For example, lesson or learning objectives might include ICT skills such as entering text with a keyboard, emboldening headings, and the text for the button labels. Also, routines such as saving the page and printing the page. ICT techniques such as importing images and positioning them appropriately for the text. You could also get them to format and edit text to conform with the story. Concepts would involve explaining how text and images can be used to communicate an event in a story. When talking about independent choice, we are talking about promoting higher order thinking skills. It is in using higher order thinking skills in order to make choices as to how to apply the ICT techniques they have learned that enable the child to execute the process, and in so doing, the child demonstrates their ICT capability. So examples of this in the early learning environment would include deciding which images from a limited selection could best illustrate an event, or choosing the most appropriate style for text to convey meaning. In relation to assessment, there are 2 questions that you need to consider. How will you know the learning goal will be achieved? And what will students or children produce? Going back to the first question, in other words, it's about deciding what evidence is needed to see if they have achieved their learning goals. The type of evidence required will be dependent upon the learning objectives for a given ICT activity. When working with text, for example, the content of the text will be important when a skeleton text has been improved. At other times, the appearance of the text will provide the most significant evidence. Most activities can be adapted to focus on different aspects of learning. This also has a lot to do with how the children will produce evidence of their learning, and this is something that you will need to consider at the planning stage. Here are some examples. If you are trying to assess the extent to which children can edit text independently for a given purpose, giving them a highly structured writing frame could prevent them from demonstrating their capability in ICT. However, if you modify the tasks to one where the children are provided with a skeleton text, this could shift the emphasis from entering text to using editing and formatting tools. Children could then concentrate not on the time-consuming task of keying in the words, but improving the appearance of the text. This consequently improves the readability of the text. The next question, what will children produce? Well, this shows strong links to the way that you will be integrating ICT in early childhood education. For example, it could be from a thematic approach or based on the breadth and depth of the early years learning framework and its early learning goals. A typical example could be providing a digital book or producing a digital book as part of their literacy learning. What this all comes down to is just imagining the potential for learning of the available technology in the early years classroom. Research has found that the most successful teaching methods used in technology integrated lessons were like those recommended for literacy and numeracy. This lesson sequence included the following: whole class briefing on the context of the ICT activity, detailed explanation to each group when they were ready to work on the ICT activity, a careful choice of pairs to work on the computer in turn, and a review of the key points with the group afterwards. It is also best to work with the group or whole class beforehand to clarify your expectations, focus their attention on what they were going to do, and generate ideas as to how you might go about it, and demonstrate any new ICT techniques involved. Any important ICT learning activities need to be introduced by explanation and questioning of the children, and concluded by further questioning and a clear summary of what has been achieved or learned. If you have any questions, ensure that you structure them before and during the feedback to focus the attention on the processes that have been used. For example, both in science and ICT, as well as the results. At all times, your planning needs to be responsive to children's technology skills, abilities, interests, and knowledge. In other words, plan your lesson structure according to the child's own technology expertise. It should be flexible, as well as ensuring that learning is effective, exciting, varied, and progressive. If you like this video and want to know more, I would like you to visit my ICT in Education Teacher Academy. Over 30 ways there for you to learn how to successfully and effectively integrate technology in your learning environment today. Right now, you can get 1 month free trial and pay just $37 per month afterwards. You can find the link in the description below. So start applying these strategies to your situation today. And I look forward to helping you achieve your professional learning goals in the future.